Hi, Bloody Recapped here. Today I'm going to explain comedy movie, The Girl Next Door. Keep your eyes open and stay focused. At the beginning we meet the typical school bully, party boy and adorer of all the girls, Hunter McCaffrey. Then we are introduced to Matthew Kidman. From his story we learn that he has a couple of friends. He's the head of the school board and is raising money to bring in a second Einstein from Vietnam. Matthew, having seen enough of his tough peers, offers to go to the beach with them and get out of class, but they are afraid and Matthew supposedly goes alone, imagining how this chase will end. He returns home and notices a new car parked next door. When Matthew goes out in the evening to throw out the trash, he meets his neighbor for the first time. Back at the house and talking to a friend on the phone, he notices the same neighbor changing clothes in the windows of the neighbor's house. He peeks at her, but suddenly she turns around and notices him. Matthew hides, but soon sees that she is coming into his house. After a few seconds, his parents call him downstairs because a new neighbor has arrived, ostensibly to meet her. The girl's name is Daniel. After talking to her parents for a while, she convinces them to take Matthew for a walk and show her the town. The parents agree and they drive off together. But in the middle of the road Daniel stops the car and asks Matthew, what did he see and doesn't he want to apologize for it? He apologizes, but that's not enough for her. She asks that he undress in the middle of the road and then she will forgive him. When Matthew undresses, she takes his clothes and leaves. But Matthew finds some rubber and runs home. Daniel comes back and gives him his clothes. They arrive at the cafe, and Matthew finds out that Daniel doesn't have a boyfriend because she just recently got here. And Matthew lies about being one of the cool guys in high school. She stops him right away because she realizes he's lying, and she draws him a picture of the girl of his dreams he described. She then brings him home. The next day, he tells his friends about his adventures, and sitting in class, he suddenly notices Danielle outside the window, who calls him into the car. He runs away from school and together they have a great day. You can see that there are already some feelings between them. In the evening they climb into the backyard of someone else's house and swim in the pool while the owners are gone. But unexpectedly, the owners come back, and it turns out to be the school principal's house. But they escape and go to Matthew's friend's house. Daniel pokes fun at Ellie, who was giving Matthew advice on how to fuck Daniel, but couldn't say a word into the girl's face himself. They all come to a party, where the school bully Hunter McCaffrey orders his friends to kick Matthew out so he can be alone with Danielle. But Matthew returns and kisses Danielle passionately. The next day at school, Ellie shows Matthew an adult film featuring Danielle. Matthew doesn't want to believe it, gets angry and leaves, and Ellie yells that Matthew is obligated to fuck her. At home, Daniel is waiting for him and his mother is looking at his baby album. But then Matthew's imagination kicks in because he has seen an adult movie starring her. That same evening, Matthew offers Daniel a ride in the car, and using Ellie's expert advice, they successfully check into a motel. In the room, Matthew asks her why she does these movies. Daniel realizes that all he wanted was her body in a cheap motel. They fight and she leaves. Matthew starts having a depressive period, and after a couple of days he goes back to Danielle and starts apologizing. But then a new guy named Kelly comes out. Matthew leaves and Kelly follows him. He offers to go with them to a club, where Matthew learns that Kelly is a former producer of her adult films. In addition, Kelly says that Matthew is too small for Daniel. The next morning Kelly arrives at the school and pretends to be their friends. And then they go to the accounting office, where an employee tells Matthew that he has raised $25,000 for a fund to bring the kid back from Vietnam, and Matthew introduces Kelly as his mentor. A little later, Matthew notices that Daniel and Kelly are going somewhere. They reply that they are going to a festival in Las Vegas. Sitting in a cafe with his friends, he decides he will follow them. On the road, they tell their parents that they are going on a picnic and will be back in a couple of days. At the festival, Matthew sees Daniel on stage as a photo model. They meet with glances and Daniel tries to hide. But backstage, Matthew overhears her talking to a big boss where she has promised big tops. Suddenly Kelly shows up and takes Matthew to the storage room, where a scuffle ensues because Matthew is messing with Danielle and could ruin her business. But Matthew decides to get his way. Matthew's friends at the time pretend to be producers of porn movies. They invite one girl to the shoot, but when her boyfriend comes in and finds out they lied, then they have to run away, and Matthew notices Daniel and giving her the drawing she drew on the first date and leaves. The next morning, Daniel returns and takes Matthew to school, where he invites her to his prom. During class, Kelly bursts in and is angry that he lost his money because of him. He picks Matthew up from class and takes him out of town. Matthew promises to pay all the money back, but Kelly needs it right now. So Kelly and Matthew break into his business enemy's house to steal the title of Best Porn Movie. When Matthew already sees the title, Kelly leaves the house and calls the police. Matthew is spotted by the owner of the house and sends a parrot at him. Matthew escapes from the house and his friends manage to pick him up before the police spot him. They pick up Danielle and she tells them that Kelly got Matthew stoned. He likes to do that sort of thing. They arrive at the scholarship banquet where Matthew has all the fun and then goes on stage and performs great from the purest of heart that even the whole room applauds him, but still loses to the other guy. Matthew arrives at the accounting office to get the money. Turns out Kelly took all the money. Matthew tells him it's not his mentor and the bookkeeper demands the money back by Monday or she will report him to the police. Matthew goes back to Daniel and tells him what happened. There's one option to get the money, but he doesn't like it very much. They go back to the man Matthew stole the title from. They arrange for Matthew to get his $25,000 if the movie at the prom is successful. They arrive with actresses and they need actors, so they decide to pick the very bouncers. The prom begins. Matthew dances with Danielle and is approached by a teacher who shows him a document stating the non-proliferation of filming that one of the bullies has lost. At a romantic moment, Matthew is interrupted by the cameraman and told that one of the actors is not available. And after arguing, Matthew decides to play the part himself, but in the process the teacher walks in and everyone scatters. Yeah, you believe that? Matthew wouldn't do that because he loves Daniel. So one of the friends all but decides to make love on camera. In the meantime, Matthew is having fun with Danielle in the limo. The next morning, Ellie informs Matt that the tape is missing. Someone has stolen it. Kelly is waiting for him at the house with the tape. He is not happy that Matthew stole his filming idea and demands more money or he will show his parents the tape, but Matthew says he has nothing to lose and asks him to show the clip to his parents. But the tape turns out to be a sex education video and it played into the world's circulation. And he made money for all his dreams. Matthew brought the guy back from Vietnam as promised. Ellie became a popular producer, and Klitz got his peak of fame. And Kelly got a gift from Matthew with a joking note and he went on with his business. Matthew managed to keep his relationship with Danielle. Support the channel by subscribing, like and turn on notifications. Thank you for watching. Bye bye.